October 7th was a setup for a stand down. Even American traitor turned Israeli spy Jonathan Pollard admits it. If you believe Israel is special, you are not Christian. Israel is small, not special, and certainly not sacred. Israel offers abortion on demand and is totally dependent on U.S. aid. We don't need Israel. Israel needs America. Israel is not the Jewish state. It's just a state. There are Israeli American, British, and every other country Jews. Judaism is a religion. Zionism, a political movement. Per Jesus, Jews are not God's special people. Those who follow him are. When they killed the son, they lost the vineyard. Israel's anti-Semitism is a lie. Almost all Israelis are Ashkenazi, not from the Mideast, but Arabs, Palestinians, and Coptic Christians are. Gaza is genocide. The USS Liberty was war. Assassinating Iranian diplomats was treachery. Israeli Knesset members forbid U.S. citizenship. American Congress are infested with Israeli dual citizenship. In 2023, an IDF sniper killed 2 Christian women inside the parish. An Israeli tank demolished Mother Teresa's convent for disabled. Charlie Kirk abandoned the Israeli cause just 48 hours before his murder. You cannot serve 2 masters. Choose. I'm a retired soldier, special agent, and spy turned whistleblower warrior. Served in sabotage, rejected and redeemed, failed and forgiven, betrayed and saved, rejecting revenge, humbled and blessed, repurposed in redemption. As chaplain, leader, teacher, and truth teller, now America's intelligence officer, following God, leading my family, and any that choose to join on our long trail of tears walk to freedom and faith. Welcome. I'm Jeff Prather, and this is the Prather Point. Hey, welcome everybody. Very important big show today. October 7th. This is the anniversary, of course, and the title entitled October 7th Stand Down, Set Up for Genocide, Murder, and War. And that is exactly what it is. We're going to delve into that. But remember, my last seminar of the year, my pistolcraft seminar in Tucson, October 18th. If you want to attend that, 520-977-5868, 520-977-5868. That's the fundamentals of handgun martial arts. You can learn how to shoot faster in crisis, become super safe, disappear in a gunfight, stack the odds in your favor, and just don't shoot, learn to protect. Handgun martial arts, HMAC, is really America's martial arts. Hope to see you there. So October 7th was a setup for a stand down, 7-hour stand down. Back when I had my AMP show, actually General Flynn came on and confirmed that. I spent a decade on the Nogales border, so I'm very familiar with borders. I've done cross-border ops in the air, underground, all of that. General Flynn had walked the Israeli border. The QRF response time is in minutes. 7 hours. It was clearly a setup for a stand down so that they could then go into Gaza and genocide. They've killed triple the number of folks there. They disarmed the settlers ahead of time. I'm the one who broke this story. There's been lots of IDF troops that have come out and said that. The first people to die and be taken as hostages was the female surveillance unit of the border, who had been warning that they had been preparing for a year. So did Hamas come across and slaughter Israeli citizens? Yes, without a doubt. But it was totally with the Israeli government and the IDF. They were in on it, much as they were in on and allowed the planning of 9/11, the Israeli art students going into DEA offices, how the CIA did not allow the FBI to track the hijackers, how the FBI agent who wanted to investigate the guys learning how to fly was told not to. And this is what Netanyahu said is October 7th is our 9/11. And again, planes flew into buildings. Israeli citizens were slaughtered on October 7th, but it was with the facilitation of the governments, both the U.S. government, the Israeli government, Mossad, CIA, FBI, Shin Bet, all of those on there. And so that's the setup for the genocide that's happening. It's clearly genocide. President Trump seems to be waking up slightly about that, saying he's not going to let Israel take it, but we will see. He's going along with a lot of other stuff, as I will tell you shortly here, and a lot of murder. Remember the Iranian diplomats that were murdered. And of course, a 7-front war. Israel is at war with everybody. Of course, this is scriptural. This feeds right into Revelation. But I still see pastors holding pro-Israeli conferences as if Israel is special and chosen. They are not. It's very clear. Yeshua says this. It's in all synoptic gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, that when you kill the son, you lose the vineyard. But that is a very common Schofield Bible Darby heresy. But if you're following it, you really aren't following Yeshua. You're not following Jesus. You're following Zionism. So in October 7th, stand down, set up for genocide, murder, and war. But also why the FBI won't target Antifa. This was one of my recent Substacks, which you're welcome to read. But this is important too, because I'm saying ending Antifa is easy. That was my previous Substack. So federal immigration officials are under attack again in Oregon. The FDA officials can't do anything about it. And they say, hey, we see crowds of 50 to 1,000 in 30 minutes. 50 to 1,000 in 30 minutes is coordination. They clearly have comms. They are clearly trained. When I had Joe Kent on the show, and Joe was in the predecessor unit of the SMOO, the special mission unit I was in early on, I said, are they trained or not? And Joe said, yeah, sure, they're trained, but he wouldn't say who trained them. So tradecraft like that requires training. Comms like that requires training. And of course, the Portland Police Department are not going to do anything, but who has turned them off? Besides the local politicians? Well, who always turns off the local police? It's the feds. It's the FBI. Remember, I graduated from the FBI Academy in 1990. Have worked with him. Ed Morales, the hero of the Miami gunfight, personal friend, undercover for me. But now Trump's guys are saying, Todd Rignall, the Assistant Special Agent for Homeland Security Investigations, says, hey, they're not just facing HSI now, Homeland Security. They're facing FBI, ATF, DEA, IRS, all of the agencies. That's a force to be reckoned with. Well, it is if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. I was a special agent. I was in 1811. I was a criminal investigator. I did a lot of complex criminal investigations. Under Pedo Joe, it was very obvious. Antifa.com went directly to whitehouse.gov. I'm the guy who broke that too. No longer goes there now, but it is just as bad. And no mainstream media picked that up. They never picked it up and had me on that Antifa.com went to whitehouse.gov. Well, why is that? Because I'm a free agent, beholden to none. And White House backing Antifa was too scary a reality to be presented to the people, just as the truth that America is the drug and child porn headquarters to the world, which is why I appreciate it if you can support the show at locals, jeffreyprather.locals.com, or you can support the show at patreon.com/Jeffrey Prather, or even donate straight at jeffreyprather.com. Appreciate that. But Trump's DOJ is doing something different. They're not having FBI, DEA investigating, infiltrating Antifa to disrupt and dismantle them. That's the classic mission when you're talking about federal agencies. What's the mission? Infiltrate, dismantle, disrupt operations. So the FBI infiltrates everybody. I've had Margaret Roberts on about the Oklahoma City bombing. It was FBI, CIA, ATF, everybody. Why do we not see them infiltrating Antifa? Because Trump's at his DOJ and his deep state constellation staff don't want them disrupted or dismantled. Like the DOD-led PrEP Act pandemic, Trump intends a permanent military presence in the decaying Democrat death cult cities. So to be fair, this isn't Trump's fault. It was inevitable, allowing Democrats to destroy and turn these once great cities of industry into dens of crime and poverty, simply invited the drug cartels to take control, and they have. Trump's cartel war, declaring the cartels, including my old nemesis, the Sinaloa cartel, foreign terrorist organization, was unavoidable. But I've long said that law enforcement can't fight military. You'll always lose. So that's a step in the right direction. Trump's fighting 3 wars, the cartel wars, the deep state wars, which he seems to have been captured on completely, and the tariff war against China, which he seems to have been doing a pretty good job. But the cartels control these transshipment points. For me, it was Nogales, Sonora to Nogales, Arizona, to Tucson, up to Phoenix, and then west to LA, or east to Detroit, Chicago, and New York. And they're not going to give those things up without a fight. You're going to see a lot more violence happening. But you're also going to see this permanent presence of the military, like the PrEP Act, in these American cities. And that has some good things about it, has some bad things about it. But it also looks a lot like the fallen Roman Republic that turned empire, fallen American Republic turned empire. And that always brings me back to the Praetorian Guard. And today, the Praetorian Guard is JSOC and SOCOM and DOJ and SMU, Special Mission Units, who are now intimately tied to the intelligence community. So the Praetorian Guard, you may not know, was charged with keeping order within the cities. That's exactly where we're heading with the National Guard units and specialized units. And they're going to be under the control of FBI, likely, which is the real problem. I would be less worried if it was just SOCOM, JSOC. I've said many times, I think the former veterans like myself understand constitutional limitations, but the FBI certainly doesn't. They're the cover-up team for the deep state, for the double government, which is the intelligence community. But the Praetorian Guard could make or break an emperor's reign. They played a crucial role in deciding who would get to be emperor, and they had control over the dissemination of information in Rome. PSYOPs. I started out in PSYOPs. That's how I started out as a second lieutenant in SOCOM, because PSYOPs is in SOCOM, because like sniping, it is a force multiplier. This is precisely why I'm advocating for a state guard with counterintelligence capability to counter and eliminate the FBI federal task forces, all of which I was on back in my day. Today's military is not a mirror image of the Roman Praetorians, though Miley was close, and it will be less so if Hegseth walks his recent talk about returning the military to meritocracy. But if these military elements are assigned in cities under the FBI task force authority, as they were in DC, then we're in for a lot more elaborate false flags as never before. Note, too, that it was the Christian Emperor Constantine that disbanded the Praetorian Guard, affirming my call for a return to national ethics based upon religious morals. Unfortunately, I do not see that in Trump's wheelhouse. Regardless, as seen in third world countries the world over in futuristic films, military presence in American cities is about to become permanent. That is my assessment. We'll see if I'm right. Don't seem to be wrong very much, but that's why the FBI won't target Antifa, because if you connect the dots lead right back to the G. Also, really important to notice that Candace Owens has proven that Charlie Kirk was done with Israel. She has put up the text messages. She's shared a screenshot and talked about it of a group chat where Charlie Kirk explicitly said he was leaving the pro-Israel cause just 48 hours before he was assassinated. Rob McCoy, Josh Hammer, and 6 others were also in the chat. She's probably going to name more names, but that was her supposition. That's also my supposition for the motive of this. I said if there's somebody else has got another motive, love to hear it. Haven't seen it. But again, as my new intro that I just opened with today, Israel is a murderous state. Now, all governments murder. That's all governments do that. American government's done that too. But Israel has really made a continuous practice and art form of it. And if it is a lavalier mic or a camera gun or something, that then rings of the Israeli pagers and Netanyahu giving Trump a golden pager, which was a veiled threat. But also important to note that the Israeli official who fled the U.S. after a pedo sting and was indicted is now being defended by Trump DHS appointee as his lawyer. And so actions reveal motives. Trump not only supports Israeli pedo ops like Epstein, but doubles down on next level cyber pedoing in America. So remember, as this guy named Tom Alexandrovich was an Israeli cybersecurity head of their cyber stuff expert in Las Vegas for a conference. He was working, and he went out and solicited an FBI undercover boy and was wrapped up in a sting with others. That's a conspiracy. There's a bunch of guys. That's what a conspiracy is. But I'm saying this wasn't just a regular pedo. This guy was setting up an pedo network in America. The problem with Epstein Island was the flight records. Remember the FBI? We're going to release him. We're going to release him. We're going to release him. There is no list. Okay. So how do you get rid of the list? Make America Epstein Island and make it electronic, make it cyber. That's what this terrible person was doing. And he was one of 7 people swept up in a major multi-agency sting. So got to give some kudos to the FBI here for this, but he was let go. And now he is being defended by, and he's got an October 15th arraignment, and he's being represented by a Las Vegas-based attorney, David Chesnoff, who President Trump appointed to a position on the Homeland Security Advisory Council. So you would think Homeland Security, just like the FBI, would go after Antifa. Homeland Security would be all for this, because this is, of course, the raping and kidnapping and torturing of children and girls and minors. But nope, they are doubling down. Trump wants to move past Epstein, which is our line in the sand as far as Team America is concerned. And Chesnoff also represented an Israeli dual citizen who pleaded guilty to lying about Biden's taking $5 million bribe from Burisma as well. Even though, according to the indictment, Alexandrovich willfully, unlawfully, and knowingly was with an undercover FBI agent he believed was under 16. So what's the bottom line here? The bottom line is that Trump is still going along with Israeli extortion operations that risk little children and girls. Not only is he not going to be repentant about Epstein and do anything about that, he's doubling down on the next level. It brings me no joy to say this. I was a big President Trump supporter. I put out a new video about that, but I see no other conclusion reachable here. So I'm saying where the Antifa dots connect back to the government. They are trained. They are very well trained in all of this. So I'm saying the Antifa docs, they go back to the Adam Walfer in Germany. But for example, with the Oklahoma City bombing, there was a German intelligence agent who was inserted into the neo-Nazi group, who inserted him, the CIA. Which is exactly, what they would do. So that is what we are up against here. We are being run by Israel, or rather Trump is being run by Israel. Remember, Susan Wiles, his campaign manager, ran Bibi Netanyahu's campaign, and we are continuously being propagandized by the state of Israel. Now, there's good news that Brylan Hollyhan kid, who's talking about open borders and is pro-Israel and anti-Semitic, is just getting slaughtered. He's no Charlie Kirk. The puppet is not equal to Charlie Kirk. That will fade as well. He's kind of like a young pedo Joe. But that is what is happening there. So, but I want to get to my guest, because I want to delve into the latest in understanding the Charlie Kirk assassination. So there's lots of different theories out there. I've corrected myself many times on what I thought was happening. The Jimmy Dore has talked about a camera gun. I mean, I've seen those. They look, that is very compelling. That film of the guy standing behind him. And that's even in the movie The Bodyguard with Kevin Costner. I see Stu Peters talking about a lavalier bullet out of that little mic. I don't know of any ballistic system that small. There's the possible palm gun or palm activation. There's the possible snipers on the roof. I'm unsure about that. I'm not a sniper. I have done covert or clandestine close quarter shooting. I do teach that. The guy with the thing under his arm with a conventional weapon where a slide moved, that would not work that way. But with a Derringer, a cell phone could, or exotic weapons, exotic ammunition, a lot of that stuff is possible. But what I think we are sure about is it wasn't this tranny kid at all. It wasn't a Mauser. It wasn't a 30 caliber, and it certainly was a team effort, like almost all sniping are. 2 or 3 teams. Ideally, you want to triangulate with 3 teams, and a lot going on there. But I'm not an expert in this, but I do have someone who is an expert. Zeb Boykin is a former Marine Corps scout sniper. That program has gone away. Unfortunately, we were talking about the show, but he is an expert in long range shooting and ballistics, and has his own podcast, Outside the Overton Window. The Overton window is the acceptable political dialogue. And we'll see what he has to say about this. Zeb, brother, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I mean, I just want to pick out the one point that you made, is you've said that you've corrected your position a couple times. I have too, and I think that's how we should go about these theories. I mean, we have an incentive to kind of hold on to the initial thought that we had, right? Everybody wants to be correct. But I think if we're going to do ourselves a service and do a service to the American people, we have to be able to adapt when new information comes out. And it's still coming out. I mean, it's been 4 weeks and it's still coming out.
So do you see, well, I got a note here. I don't know if I'm a big John Chapman supporter. I've had his sister Lori on a lot. I'm really upset with the Stolen Valor from Slab and SEAL Team 6. And Adam Driver is going to play John Chapman in the Ron Howard film. Adam Driver is a former Marine there, Marine. So you got to feel good about that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I like Adam Driver. I like him a lot. From my understanding, I think he was a 31 machine gunner. So, we love our infantry for sure.
I'm so glad it's a vet, though, playing John Chapman, because he gets it, so I'm really happy about that. But I just thought I'd mention that. But and before we go any further, anything you want to comment on my stuff? And you don't have to agree with me at all. You can, disagree or
on the first I don't know, 15, 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, on my diatribe and what's going on.
I think you're right over target. And we talk about, I mean, the show is Outside the Overton. I mean, I touch on ballistics. I mean, I haven't really dove into it in like the last 8 years since I've gotten out, since I EAS. But I had to jump back in here. Obviously, I've shot and things since then. But I'm not going to say I left it behind, but it's definitely been kind of on the back burner. And so I've been essentially prepping to get into the political commentary stuff since then. And I mean, I think you're right over target, especially we talk about Antifa. And Trump in 2020 was talking about declaring Antifa a terrorist organization. That was in 2020. I mean, it's been 5 years. I know he didn't have his full term, but I mean, we're 8 months into his presidency, and we still haven't had that done, right? We talk about Netanyahu has been calling for Iran to have nukes since like 92. It's like every month with him in Iran.
Oh yeah, I forgot. That's actually another bullet point. Is Netanyahu is now saying about Iran's got a missile that's going to hit New York again, and I guess they're going to listen to him yet again.
Yeah, I mean, it's every year with Netanyahu and Iran. And then Candace Owens, I don't know if you saw the video come out maybe like 30 minutes ago or so, where Andrew Colvett confirms that Candace Owens, the text message she produced, or the group chat she produced, is confirmed. So Andrew Colvett on their end confirmed Candace Owens' receipt. So I mean, that's what we're looking at. I did a video even prior to the ballistics. It was like less than 24 hours after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Basically, the title was Charlie Kirk killed for asking questions, or something, for noticing, right? And I laid out basically a timeline of what happened between I don't know, he did a Patrick Bet-David interview back in October 12th, where they talked about October 7th back in 2023, right, a couple days after it happened. It's the anniversary now. And Charlie Kirk took a pretty hard stance and said that there was a stand down order. And I think that was not the tipping point, but it was definitely a start down this slope that he was going down. It's obvious he was going down this slope. And I don't know who can say he's not without getting paid, $6 or $7 grand. I don't know, you pick. But he was definitely going on with Megyn Kelly. They had a TPUSA event back in July, and then TPUSA focus group with some of the chapter heads that kind of showed where the mind of the youth was or were at that time, and still is going towards that way. I think they thought he was losing control of his chapters, and that's where the motive is. I mean, motive is an action, but at the same time, it's like, I don't want to catch a defamation suit, but we can kind of understand where everybody.
Well, I'm just coming as a 19-year
exactly
criminal investigator. These are not hard dots to connect.
No,
and also, if FBI's infiltrated everybody, why are they not infiltrated Antifa? And the reason is because Antifa and the left goes back to not the ghetto or anything. It goes back to upper class white Ivy League school folks. Well, that's something else we can talk about later. But let's. How is it that Israel has Trump by the balls? Well, we don't know. But Ann Vandersteel was on here saying maybe it's because they threatened to put off a nuke. I don't know. What you got? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, the easy answer would say that they have blackmail on Trump. I don't think that's the right answer. I mean, there's a little bit of evidence there, just given his actions in the last 6 months. I mean, the first 2 months of the presidency fairly solid, and then we started going downhill. We don't have the mass deportations we were promised. We don't have the Epstein files, JFK files, 9/11 files, all this stuff that we were promised during the campaign. We just don't have it. So obviously they have something on him. Whether that is the American people, they have the American people. Maybe somebody will drop a nuke in New York. I don't know, but we do have to understand that Trump is compromised, whether that is through sexual exploitation of minors or whatever. I don't see how you don't understand that.
I don't think he was. I mean, I know he's fooled around, but I think
I agree.
He was not exploited in that way. I think but I do think that Butler was a real attempt, and I want to know what you think. And I think something changed after either Butler or after Ruth on the golf course or something. I think that's an inflection point. But would you agree Butler was, first of all, I've only met one, and actually he's former Marine, who said that the Butler attempt might have been faked. What's your feeling on that?
I don't get faked from Butler. I know. I mean, that there's theories going around about Charlie Kirk being faked too. I don't think those were faked. I do think the Butler. I need to revisit Butler because I wasn't on the scene when Butler happened. Though I have a couple takes that I don't think people have pushed. I'll have to run back through all those theories again. But essentially, I think the state police or local police were behind them in essentially a sniper nest, a final firing position. Were behind Crooks at the time. You had three in that building with a window. You had one that went to the bathroom, one that went to lock the door, and then another one up there that fell asleep at the same time that Crooks crawled on top of the building and took the shot. If you listen to the audio, you have 4 shots from a smaller caliber weapon and 3 shots from a large caliber weapon, and then you have the additional shot from the Secret Service taking out Crooks. So what that tells me is that there was a team, maybe 15 feet, 20 feet behind Crooks that were taking additional shots, and it seemed rushed. We can kind of dive back into that Butler eventually, but I mean, there's some similar tactics across the board from Butler to Charlie Kirk thing. You have the masking of firing rounds from an alternate position on top
from the wood line you're talking about.
I don't think from the wood line. I think they were in the building.
Doesn't
behind
the counter
Kirk.
sniper team shift fire, and the guy says make small, bro, and shifts?
Yeah, I mean, I think they do, but I don't think there was shots coming from the wood line. I think the shots were actually coming from the window behind Crooks. That's what the audio puts it about right there. And yeah, I think the state police were involved. So.
Well, I think the Secret Service were involved. I think
probably.
I can't. I've actually done work alongside the Secret Service, and nobody's that incompetent.
Well, no, that's the point I made yesterday. I made that exact point yesterday. I mean, specifically about the FBI. There's no way they're this incompetent. It has to be intentional.
Yeah, it's
You
intentional
don't.
negligence.
There's no way people are this incompetent across the board. And I mean, the incompetence of the cover up is even worse than the actual assassination itself. But even beyond that, I mean, you have 911 calls. I don't know if you've heard those, where they say there was somebody dressed in all black technical gear with a short barrel rifle or long barrel rifle. I can't remember exactly.
Now you're
with a
talking
mask
about
on.
Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, with Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, no, I have heard that. So do you think the Butler and golf course stuff is connected, or it's
to
Charlie Kirk? You think those are the same team? Because I do not think it's the same team.
I don't think it's the same team. I mean, I think it's definitely some quasi-professional. I don't know if I would go full-on professional hitmen or assassins, if you want to call them that. But
On
they
who?
definitely either one, really. Too many screw-ups.
Yeah, no, but that's
They're
okay.
just bad, or maybe they are, and they're just bad at maybe they're just bad at being assassins.
No.
I don't know.
No, I think the recruitment pool, the human capital pool through the FBI, CIA assets, they've just run out.
They've gone downhill over the years.
Yeah. But going to Charlie Kirk, that's a whole different animal, I think. So let's get into that. So are you of the school that there's a sniper, or could this be? Have you seen the video of the guy standing behind him with the maybe camera gun? Is the guy with the palm either activator?
Yeah, so I've tried to tackle most of these theories. I can't get behind the camera gun. I don't think there's enough reaction after when the shot would have taken place. I mean, the palm gun, I just don't see it. It's not there. Now, if you want to claim he pressed a detonator, probably. You just can't make that shot, right? If we're assassinating Charlie Kirk, we'll call it top 1, 2, 3 of you have Trump, maybe JD Vance, and then Charlie Kirk via the conservative, the right leaning political spectrum. I mean, Charlie Kirk's up there. So if you're going to take a shot at this assassination, you don't hip fire. You don't shoulder fire a palm pistol over there. What were some of the
I
other
agree.
theories?
I agree. Yes.
Yeah, you just don't risk something
the palm
like that.
could be an activator.
You could be a detonator or something.
There's the guy
Camera gun.
off his camera gun.
I just think
Stu Peters was talking about.
I just think that it's a weird reaction. I don't think there's enough there to say that there was a shot taken, right? We would see a little bit more recoil. It's probably running, I don't know, what, a 9mm, maybe a 380 pistol or something like that. I mean, you would see a little bit more recoil. I think the guys with the cameras were just awkward out of it. Like once your head's in a camera. So I've done a couple of these events with Uncensored America and Sean over there. We've done some with Myron and Owen Schroyer. And so I man the cameras and run halfway security on some of these events. And when you're in the camera, you're stuck in the camera. And so if something happens like that, it's like it's outside of that. It's almost like you have headphones in. You have just put your little VR on. And
that's a good point. But they could also have lessened the powder charge. In fact, that's what CYBER-PEDO did when they were going after the Munich hitters. They didn't use suppressors. They just lessened the powder charges. Their little Beretta, whatever they were, Beretta, the little Beretta guns.
Yeah, they deloaded. I think they probably did. I think the intention was maybe to mask that. And my claim is that we catch a vapor cone on camera. And that's kind of my position. That's where I'm going to run with it. I went on vacation for about 4 days. I'm going to dive right back into this pretty heavy with a clear mind, hopefully next couple of days, and try and reassess the new footage that has come out. Not new, but clear HD footage from his right side, along with some of the supposed autopsy reports. I don't know. We'll have to take a look at those and kind of sift through this information. A lot of this is just that, sifting through information, what is real and what isn't. And being new to this space, it is very full of chaos agents, if you will. And so a lot of that mental capacity is just or the mental workload is just trying to sift through what is real and what isn't.
Well, so where do you think the shot is the neck an exit wound or an entry wound? Let's
I
start
think the
with,
neck. I think the neck has to be an exit wound. The only
yeah, I
way
do too.
the only way it could be an entry wound would be like a half-inch projectile from his feet, and I just don't see that, right? Because
Yeah.
he has a spot on the shirt, which would be the exit from the shirt. But even to get that, it would have to be an extreme vertical angle to make that hit. And also, you just don't on an entry, you just don't have that large of a hole.
Right.
Coming through. Now, I do think it was a smaller, maybe not a smaller caliber, but a slower round, right? Because you don't have the entire blowout. So we're looking at a slower round. We're looking at probably an exit relatively steep. And I think the shot had to come from his right side. And obviously
some kind of exotic weapon or ammunition, like a Glazer safety slug or something made special.
Yeah, it would have to be. I don't know if it would have to be special, but it would have to align with taking out the brainstem. I think we've confirmed essentially that it has to, at a minimum, it has to rupture the brainstem to get the reaction from Charlie that we see, along with, I think, first movement is back of the neck or right at the back of the base of the skull. I think that's first movement. I'm going to go back and realign all of this stuff. I think the audio was off on one or two of these videos, a couple frames. So I'm going to realign it just on visual and take a look back at that. So I think the shot came from the top right.
Do you think the brainstem was hit? Did he go limp? He ragdolled right away? I thought.
Well, he didn't go ragdoll right away, so he tensed up in a Joe Biden poop his pants pose. I can't remember exactly what they call it, but that's upper spinal or brainstem rupture. Essentially, it severed everything right there, and that's exactly what we see. And so we have to factor that into what is going on. And again, that would tell you that if it's entering here and exiting here, or the other way rather, then that's what we would need to see. And so it would be from his top right. Like I said, I think if it's an entry wound, you're playing ball with, like, I don't know, a slingshot and a 1-inch rock to make that happen. I just don't see how you get
so you do think it's from behind him, but you don't think it's the guy with the camera, the Stu Peters guy, or is that? No, that's Jimmy Dore.
Jimmy Dore was covering that. Stu Peters covered the mic, and initially I was on Stu Peters' show really early on after I did my ballistics video, and so I've kind of updated a little bit since then. Matter of fact,
Stu Peters talking about this lavalier. I don't know any ballistic system that could operate in that small.
I mean, you could make it. The claim they're making is based on what I believe is actually altered footage. I think there's a single frame in there that shows his expansion of shirt that is is been tampered with on that frame. And so even beyond that, even if you take that footage, they claim the mic exploded, but then the mic goes the direction of the claimed explosion, along with, they said, the magnet is what went in him, but it has to go on the other side of his neck, and then the magnet is still there in the same video that they sent. It's like the people pushing the mic theory, I think they're just dumb or feds.
That was Stuart Peters, wasn't it?
I wouldn't put that on Stu Peters. He can cover theories. He's covered my theory before, but I would place that on the people that are actually pushing it, meaning the primary source. People like John Bray, I think, is one. Blake, I can't remember what his last name is, but those
somebody's saying you could get it with a high PSI air weapon. Yeah, I guess that's true too. Yeah.
Yeah. So Jason from Crowdsource of Truth, he's also pushing the air weapon now. The audio tells us, or it seems like the audio tells us, it's really hard because you're sitting in amphitheater. It's a bowl of concrete, one. And so on top of that, you're looking at probably a shot from anywhere from 150 to 200 feet. And so that would put us kind of behind that stairwell where they claim the door is open. I don't think it actually is, or in that crack to Charlie's right, his back right, maybe like 315. But Jason's pushing the air weapon, and I think There may be something to that. I disagree. He thinks it's coming in from the rear. I think the projectile that he's claiming, and so I produced the frames that I produced the frames first that were 1, 2, 3 frames after first impact that showed the projectile that he's basing this off of. He's saying that it's coming into, but I don't think it is. I think it's leaving Charlie. And so the question is are there 2 projectiles? And that's something that I've been trying to play with. I just can't make it work.
But you're saying that the shot is from 150 feet back.
So if you look at it, I think it's like 200 to 150 feet.
So we don't have any photos of who's ever back there, do we? Or I haven't seen those.
There is one video that it cuts it off before we get to see where I believe the shot was actually taken from. There's a crack between a building and the new building that they just built, like not even that long, maybe 6 months ago. I think it's actually still under construction, but there's a crack maybe about, I don't know, anywhere from a foot to 2 feet wide that I think you could take that shot through from the top of a roof, shoot through the crack and hit Charlie, which is why I think they had to wait on him till he leaned back pretty far. The audio says that Tyler didn't take the shot. Not only did he not take the shot, but he didn't shoot at all.
You're talking about crack thump.
Yes.
Now, so can you explain that a little bit to the audience?
Yeah. So when you take a shot, you have sound at the barrel. Generally, if we're not shooting subsonic and with no suppressors, you have the sound on exit of the barrel, and then you have sound, which you call a report, on the essentially whenever the bullet passes you. And so if the bullet is traveling faster than sound, the sound from the barrel is going to take longer to get to you than the sound from the bullet passing you. And so that's what you can measure. Essentially, you can measure the distance of that shot based on the time between report and round firing itself.
Wow. Well, that's and there's a place back there where that could have happened, and the video cuts off intentionally, likely.
Probably not. It's a little high up. So it doesn't cut off. It's like where I think it was taken from. It's a little bit above the line. So if they're filming downward at an angle, it's the good footage that we have. We don't have the original, but I still have a relatively high quality footage from Charlie's left. Probably, I don't know, 50 feet or so from his left. And then we get a little bit of that right side of Charlie Kirk, where you see the hand signals. You see Frank Turk in the white hat that they claim were doing hand signals. You see the white shirt guy that they think was taking the shot after doing this.
Having done a lot of ball cap signals, I mean, the ball cap is the traditional way you do that for all cap. I'm all in on those. I'm not sure what they're doing, but to me, those are classical. What do you say about that?
So I wanted to start this thing out with like concrete, what we can basically confirm without assuming things. And I think the signals would be an assumption that I didn't want to start with. Now we're getting to a point where we can see, I need to go back and look at some of this footage, because I've seen some of the clipped up video where a guy is holding up 5 and 4 and then assuming a countdown. I need to go back and confirm that actual countdown. But, I don't deny that signals exist, but if we are assuming the signals, then the security team is in on it. Without question.
So I've done a lot of dignity. That before I was doing this, I was actually guarding the guys who were doing this back in the Tea Party days. And so in a crowd, if you've got a dignitary or something, if I want my 2 or something, I'm in a crowd, I used to put up my fingers to get another, somebody from security, from the intelligence shop. I mean, that it could be friendly signals is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But
for sure they could be.
But to me, the ball cap stuff looks definitely like signals. I don't know if they're enemy signals or friendly signals, but it sure looks like definite signals, one type or another.
Well, I would think these guys would have audio. They would have comms.
Should.
And so I don't know how useful signals would be beyond comms. Even beyond that, I think Charlie Kirk had some type of earpiece in, or at least wire. People that are claiming there's a chain. I think
you can see it come out when he's hit.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, you could call it earpiece. You can call it what you want to, but it is some type of wire that's a give or take 4 feet long. And so I don't know what to make of that really either.
But the clearest indication that it's a setup is the complete destruction of the crime scene right after, which is what they did in Butler, which is what they did in Waco, which is what they always do. And
Yep.
as soon as you see that, then you got to know the government's in on it. The FBI is in on it. Everybody knows a crime scene, and they've even redone the overhead.
Well,
Completely.
okay, so if we're talking about if we recall talking about Jason's theory where he thinks that Charlie Kirk was shot from the back, if we take the evidence that he's trying to present that it's a shot from the rear, which I think is a shot from the front, meaning that the projectile is moving backwards behind Charlie this way, they removed the vinyl, and there were images of glass company or glass vans on campus, and I think they actually replaced the glass. I think it cracked the glass. I can't find those images anymore. I don't know where they're at, but they removed the vinyl. The vinyl wasn't even on there. It was put there essentially specifically for the Charlie Kirk event somehow, or at least that period of time for some reason. They removed that vinyl. They removed the glass, put the pavers in. They're concrete and reconcreting the roof. Initially, I chalked the pavers up to, okay, maybe there's blood on the ground. They don't want to put sod. They want to put some pavers down to kind of give a harder stage for somebody coming in next time if they want to do an event there. But at this point, on top of all of that, I think we need to look back and say, yeah, the pavers were obviously covering up something.
Well, there was a opening below the pavers, I believe.
Yeah, so there's some type of service tunnel for probably some type of electronics. I don't think anything of that really. I mean, if somebody was going to pop up a trap door and take a shot,
no, not at all. So you're thinking about 150 to 200 feet.
I would have to go back and look. But yeah, I think it's like 90
feet. And you're thinking that it is a 300 blackout or 9 or something downloaded or subsonic.
I think it was something that was probably intended to be subsonic, and it accidentally went transonic. And so in my original video, I thought it was a flash, a reflection of muzzle flash off the glass, because if we're looking at for an exit wound out here, we would expect a shot to come up here in that general direction. I thought it was a flash. Now I believe it is a vapor cone. The effect of a vapor cone, not the round itself, but a vapor cone, because we can see the reflection of that thing in the glass for a single frame. Vapor cone meaning the round is going transonic, right? I think everybody's seen pictures or videos of an airplane or a jet flying by. And matter of fact, Trump just posted one 2 days ago or yesterday where the plane was flying by and somebody's filming with an iPhone and catches the transonic vapor cone as the plane is moving. And so I think that's what happened. I think they accidentally went supersonic, or at least transonic, with the round being fired.
So what do you mean? That's interesting. You're saying, if I understand you correctly, that they wanted to be subsonic, but somehow they want transonic.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you're measuring things, you measure temperature, barometric pressure, humidity, everything like this.
Oh, yeah.
And so if it's off a little bit or a lot or however.
So the round was hand loaded for the climate.
I would assume it was hand loaded with the intention to get as much out of the round that they could without it going supersonic. Generally, if it's, from my understanding, is if it's commercial loaded, they load it lesser with the intention that, okay, wherever it's being shot, it's not going to go supersonic. And so I believe it was hand loaded. If we're talking about professionals here, if we're taking into account the witness from Candace Owens and the witness from the 911 report, where they see people in all black tactical gear with mask and long rifles, which I think we can at least take one of those. Now we're looking at something resembling a professional. And then from there, we should be able to think, okay, they're probably hand loading these things, and they would try to get as much energy out of it as they could. And so I think they messed up.
Wow, that's really interesting. And also the fragments in the glass, or the striking the glass and the fragments in the vinyl. That's what you're saying? Do I have that right?
I believe so. Yeah, I can't find the videos that we saw originally, but because I mean they're erasing everything, and we know that they had some type of if you look at a couple of these live streams on TikTok, it's missing minutes during the Charlie Kirk. It's missing like 10 minutes before, or 5 before and 5 after of Charlie Kirk actually being shot. So we know there was drones in the area. We're assuming that they were essentially what's called a DDoS overload attack on low energy Bluetooth. And so what it does is it shuts down live streams essentially. So if you look at some of these TikTok live streams, it's missing 10 minutes. A completely random 10 minutes, if you will, of
and when did that happen? You mean during the attack or after?
During. Yeah.
Whoa, wow. So that sounds like a special mission unit or NSA capability.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
No, I said that.
I know. I mean, yeah, I mean, if we're looking at, I mean, we know the drones were there. There were some high-tech drones, not just go out there DJI drones.
So you're referring to Cullen? I think Cullen was bad.
Cullen's done some work on that. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Cullen, but
no,
I think he's correct. I think he's correct on the drones.
Okay. All right.
I think he's correct on the drones in some capacity.
He was very rude to you.
Cullen, I mean, it is what it is. Listen, I get it, dude. I'm in their house. I completely understand. This isn't necessarily my ballpark, and so I expect a little bit of pushback, but not that much. So
interesting that my whole feed just went away, guys. So I can't look at your other stuff. Temperature, pressure, and humidity are vital meteorological factors influence the speed of sound at higher temperature. Yeah. Okay.
It influences the speed of sound, and it influences the speed of the projectile.
Wow. And so
there's too many variables for them to factor into play so close to the chest of okay, let's get as much out of this as I can. I think they slightly messed up. Right? If we're going transonic, they're within they're running the speed of sound exactly.
So that's a serious clue. Because this is very professional, and also it's they. So what's your estimate of? I think I counted like at least 4 or 6 elements had to be there for all this to go off. But now, when you bring up the DDoS attack to be timed like that, I mean, are you disagreeing with my assessment there of a SMU or an NSA doing something like that?
No, I'm not disagreeing at all. that was tongue in cheek, but
okay.
But no, absolutely. I mean, if we're playing with drones that can do that, then I mean, who has that capability other than
DARPA, NSA?
Right. This isn't buy it off the Walmart shelf.
No.
So,
wow. I knew about John's drones, but I didn't know about the DDoS attack.
That's something Jason's pushing also. I don't, he's pushed it a little bit. I don't know how hard he's pushed it, but like I said, you can pull up some of these TikTok live streams that were happening at the time, and they're just missing minutes, random minutes. And I think he did an interview with George Webb. He was it Life is Driving? Life is Driving. He had 3 redundancies built in, and so 2 of his failed. It didn't record to the SD card of the camera. Didn't record to the or didn't record to the external hard drive. Didn't record to the iPad, but he had an additional storage that it did record to, and so it was a triple redundancy that he just happened to have going on. Otherwise, he wouldn't have any footage.
Wow. And
from my understanding.
And of course, the Patsy makes no sense at all, and the Mauser and the AI manipulated leaping off the roof and all that stuff. I'm sure you agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, the time between, I think the video that caught the guy on the roof was staged. I think it was intentional. Yeah. I think, I don't think Tyler was ever on the roof.
Yeah. Just like it wasn't Crooks. Yeah. It's not Tyler. Yeah. Also, there's the guy walking to the tree. Then he's not there at the tree anymore. He doesn't pass the tree. All of a sudden, it's like he stopped behind the tree. A lot of modifications there as well. Well, I think you got to go, right?
Yeah, I got. Yeah, A few minutes. I'm gonna jump on my
Oh,
live
okay.
too. So, yeah, I mean, if you want, we can finish up real quick if you got any more questions or anything
Uh,
else you want to touch on.
no, I'm finding this really fascinating. I want to know what else you think. So, well, I want to know how many people you think. So, as you put this together, just like the DDoS attack, that's
Well,
I don't even know.
I call it a DDoS. I don't know exactly what it is. I mean, it's essentially an overloading of the Bluetooth system from low energy.
Well,
Essentially asking the Bluetooth to join, and so it can't take it, so it
that
just shuts itself
signature is
down.
military or intelligence community.
I mean, it
Period.
would have to be.
So that is governmental. There's no way around that statement. And then, of course, to cover up the crime scene is FBI as well.
Well, the university would have to be involved.
Well, the university is somebody comes in from the government. Every time there's a real investigation, some guy in a suit shows up, and says, stop this.
Yeah, but how fast can you get gravel, pavers, cement to fix the ceiling, glass, pull the vinyl off, I mean they did all this within like 8 hours. Or at least had it going within 6 to 8 hours.
Wow. Yeah, that's really true. Yeah. So how many on scene would you estimate?
I mean, I'm going to dive into that here pretty soon. I mean, if you claim the security is involved, I mean, we're looking at a dozen, maybe more. But I mean, I don't want to throw out those accusations yet. But until
Schaefer Security takes over for his normal echelon security for just that event, I believe, and Schaefer's real attached to Israel as well.
Yes, sir.
Well, I know you got to get ready for your own show there, the Overton outside the Overton window, which is on X and Rumble, right?
It's primarily on YouTube, but we're gonna branch off to X and Rumble. We do clips on there, but
take it from my experience. Don't just be on YouTube.
Yeah, well, I do want to try. I want to get you on too, and kind of pick your brain on some of that stuff. Because
yeah, I'd love to.
So we can definitely get that together.
All right, brother. Well, thanks so much for coming on.
No, sir. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so I was really looking forward to having Zeb on there. I think I learned a whole lot there. The DDoS attack I did not know about. I now am seeing the chat happen again here, but that totally brings in DARPA. Well, that's DARPA technology, or that's NSA level stuff. That's clearly a government agency. Which of course we know from the cover up as well. But that's, very, very significant. The DDoS attack cutting off the video at that time. That means, the government is in on it. And that means, what I was saying as well. So I am seeing now your, like a movie set, horrible. Yes. Yeah, I'm tracking, and man, he must have a big audience because I've got 376 watching as well. So another guy I know, Eamon Blair, and I did a speech with him down in Texas. It was like the smallest audience we've ever had. It was like 5 people. I drove down there for it. But a great guy, former Army, got out of the Army, got out of the Border Patrol. He wasn't going to run kids. And now he's working to get legislation passed for Texas. He just had a Glenn Beck article saying cartels are now unlawful combatants. And he wrote about this and was saying for decades, Washington treated the cartels as crime. And again, like I was saying before, that won't work. You can't use crime is for crime enforcers, law enforcers. You cannot put law enforcement up against the cartels. They're military, paramilitary, paraintelligence. And Trump has finally made the right decision on that. But the cartels infest all major U.S. cities. And so making them unlawful combatants brings in the military. Specifically, it brings in SOCOM, Special Operations Command, JSOC, Joint Special Operations Command. Also brings in the CIA. The FBI is already in there as well. So now what you're going to see, I'm less worried about JSOC and SOCOM in American cities than I am is CIA and FBI. Not that they weren't there before, they were, but they're going to take the lead on this. CIA and FBI are now counterterrorism organizations, so there will be even more false flags than before via JSOC. And again, the military should not work for the intelligence community. The intelligence community should work for the military. Washington had his intelligence organization, but he ran it. He was Agent 711. He ran it personally so it wouldn't get out of control. But now we see all the time the military, especially SOCOM and JSOC, being chopped to CIA. Very traditionally, Special Forces Green Berets are chopped to CIA, which again shouldn't be that way. Should be the other way around. But out of the OSS, the Office of Strategic Services, comes two things: CIA and Army Special Forces Green Berets, who normally have done a great job, and CIA has always done a terrible job. They keep talking about what a great job they've done. I don't see it. But cartels just don't smuggle, they destabilize. Mass migration has become a weapon of war. Overwhelming institutions, hiding operatives, masking foreign infiltration. Millions of illegal entrants from more than 170 nations have crossed. And Eamon, who's at the Texas Public Policy Foundation, is working on this. And he has said that the Mexican cartel conflict meets the Geneva Convention's definition of a non-international armed conflict. And so that means terrorists, which means they're not nation state enemies under a flag, but hybrid insurgents, foreign terrorist organizations that combine paramilitary violence, illicit economies, and political corruption to dominate populations. And they span 65 countries. Chinese networks provide chemical precursors, launder money. Hezbollah and Iranian agents exploit the same corridors. And so that's good. And that's a war that needs to be fought. And it's going to take decades. But it's going to be in American cities, just like you see in Mexico. So what you see in Sicario is coming to America. Now, it will be sanitized and will be covered up. That is, the news media isn't going to show the pictures of bodies hanging from bridges and heads lined up, but there will be bodies hanging from bridges and heads. And you're also going to see JSOC and SOCOM and CIA and, of course, FBI in American cities as never before. And you're going to see the same problems that you saw before, even more. This is mostly going to be in the Democratic-run cities, which are already falling apart. So what's the answer to that? The answer is to get out of those cities. If you're still in them, that's a big mistake. If you're in a transshipment city, what's that? Nogales, Arizona, which adjoins Nogales, Sonora, Tucson, Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. Those are all problems as well. So that's my corridor that I'm familiar with. There's a California corridor, there's a Texas corridor coming up, but the cartels are going to fight to continue to control those corridors regardless. Also, there is no doubt anymore that the official profile of the violent political left is what is the reality. So there's a new study out, and this is where's that? It's not the MAGA crowd that's in this study, but it is. I'm looking for the name of the study. Well, I can't find it at the moment, but a new it's just 2025 study shows that today's violent extremists aren't the uneducated, gun-toting conservatives the media loves to mock and demonize. They're highly educated, mostly young, overwhelmingly liberal progressives. And the example is DHS announces federal agents in Broadview, Illinois, were rammed and boxed in by 10 cars, including a woman with a semi-automatic handgun. So the new findings on America's political violence from the Skeptic Research Center team, around 1 in 3 younger adults, Gen Z and millennials, expressed support for political violence. Support for political violence was highest among those identifying as politically very liberal. Americans with the highest level of education attainment, graduate or professional degrees, were about twice as likely to support political violence as those with less formal education. Liberal Gen Z women were more supportive of political violence than were Gen X baby boomer men. Why? Well, they've now been conditioned to kill their own babies. If you remember back in the 60s, troops coming back and they were being called baby killers by the baby killers. This data comes from the American Political Perspectives Survey collected from August 3rd, 2025 to September 26, 2025 with 3,000 American adults who speak English. All respondents needed to pass attention checks, duplication check, time to completion checks, fraud, and bot identification checks. There's a Joel Phillips, a makeup artist who recently encouraged her nearly 300,000 followers to dox the children of ICE agents. There is a nurse who is saying how to elude police. A nurse giving Portland domestic terrorist tips on how to avoid being identified by police. And the more you really look at this data, the more one thing becomes painfully clear. Today's violent political left isn't made up of broke dropouts and random street punks. It's filled with people who are educated, well-spoken, and often well-paid. These are the same tyrants who lecture everyone about peace, empathy, and inclusion. And these are the politicians' kids that are doing this. We've seen this before. We've talked about this before. And this is, again, going back to why the FBI doesn't investigate Antifa, because if you go back and investigate Antifa, you're not going to find Mexican guys. You're not going to find black ghetto guys. You're going to find upper class white guys and gals who are attached to the political class. And there's hands off of them and the political media. So the same playbook in the 1970s when radical groups like Weather Underground used fear and violence to push their agenda. The difference now is those ideas didn't fade into history. They grew up, got tenure, and started teaching your kids and grandkids. So Trump is shaking this up, but again, he does not have control of the FBI or the DOJ, certainly not through pathetic Patel or blathering Bongino. Today's violence was passed down from rich hippies of the 1970s and rebranded as social justice. It's become a way to make socially awkward young people feel like the heroes of their own grand fairy tales, playing all these stupid video games. They go to bed at night believing they're fighting for the little guy, convinced that everything they do or say is justified because they're the good guys and we're the Nazis. That's a dangerous message to send, and it creates martyrs, people willing to kill or die for a cause that doesn't actually exist, but still ends the lives of decent, faithful Americans like Charlie Kirk. Yeah, okay. Somebody just put that in the chat. That is really good to understand that. So a lot covered today. You can also see my latest Substack because we just finished Yom Kippur. And you can always join me at christchaplaincy.com as well. And I was saying that Yeshua is Yom Kippur. And what's different is church pastors are safe in their sanctuary. Chaplains are not. Chaplains regularly go out where pastors never go. And of course, this is what Yeshua, which is Jesus' real name, did and disciples do. We don't just worship, pray, talk, sing, and read. We emulate Yeshua, the Messiah. But because Yeshua clearly says in Matthew 5:17, don't think I've come to revoke the law, I've come to fulfill the law, we've also got to study the law. And the law is how things actually work, how the Creator's creation works, whether we like it, understand it, or even agree with it. And every year I learn more about that and understand it better. So, but too many Jews and Christians think it's about the rules. It's not about rules. It's not follow the rules, get a prize. Yeshua broke rules all the time. In Mark 2:27, when the rabbis chastised him for Sabbath labor, Yeshua clarifies, Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. It's not about rules. It's about righteousness. And righteousness is earned, bought by blood. Nearly all classical scientists hypothesize that if they could understand natural law, the way things work in the universe, they could better understand divine law. And we're only now beginning to grasp God and Yeshua's bizarre statements and requirements about blood. But the Christic cycle is inextricably tied to the Mosaic cycle. So obviously, I'm not knocking Judaism because that's the Mosaic cycle. I'm knocking Zionism and heresy of Zionism. So Yom Kippur in 2025 began at sundown on Wednesday, October 1st, ended Thursday, October 2nd at sundown. It's the holiest day of the Jewish year. And Yeshua celebrated all of the Jewish feast days and holy days. He even celebrated Hanukkah, and Hanukkah is not a holy day. But he did not, we have no record of him celebrating Yom Kippur, the holiest day of atonement, of at-one-ment. So why not? Well, I think it's because Yeshua is Yom Kippur. Yeshua is our atonement, our at-one-ment. He fulfills Leviticus. And Leviticus says, I have given it on the altar to make atonement for your souls, for it is the blood that makes atonement for life. Leviticus 17, which is not far from Leviticus 19, which is, you shall not take vengeance or bear grudge against the sons of your own people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Yeshua fulfills Leviticus. He atones, becomes at one on the altar of the cross, so that we know our sins are forgiven, because we literally communion with the blood and flesh of the Passover lamb from Golgotha on the cross. The New and Old Testaments are often mysterious and murky, but when you fit the pieces together through Yeshua, suddenly everything fits. On Yom Kippur, the priest was required to take off his fancy robes and wear simple white linen garments, just like the linen of the Shroud of Turin, which the Gospel of Light reveals the literal proof of the universe-changing resurrection of Yeshua. The priest was required to offer sacrifice. There were 2 goats chosen, one sacrificed, the other released in the wilderness to Azazel, which is a fallen angel. We're not going to do that. This was an acknowledgement of who controls the earthly terrain. Yeshua came to change all of that and take that ground. Additionally, this is the only day of the year when the high priest could enter the Holy of Holies behind the veil. And that veil was torn when Yeshua died, destroying the separation between heaven and us. At the end of the universe, the walls of the universe of time and space, which are curved as they go out, those are now porous because of the Christ connection. And on top of the Ark of the Covenant is the Kaporet. The Ark of the Covenant is where there are 2 angels. You've seen that in the movies. It's kind of like my warrior bracelet there. And this was called the mercy seat here, where the glory of God, glory means brilliance, would appear there. And it was here where Rabbi said the blood of the goat had to be sprinkled. But what is really amazing is the way it was supposed to be sprinkled on this holiest day. It's sprinkled in a maslif manner, as if someone were being whipped. And if you look at the Shroud of Turin close up, you can clearly see the whip marks, the scourge marks. If you watch The Passion, Mel Gibson's The Passion, you can see a very accurate portrayal of the scourging or the striping of Yeshua. But all the rabbis agree that there's a whipping motion made for this blood at the mercy seat. So the comparison to the striping, scourging of Yeshua is unmistakable. Isaiah 53:5, but he was wounded because of our transgressions. He was crushed because of our iniquities. The chastisement of our welfare was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. The Turin shroud shows unmistakable and almost unimaginable striping, scourging, 228 times, explaining why Yeshua died so quickly on the cross. Rashi, the famous rabbinic commentator from the Middle Ages, admits he doesn't understand what it really means. Rabbi Ovadia Bartonura suggested it should be a motion as if whipping someone from across their shoulders downwards, and has even suggested the word matzliv, that's matzliv, like a cross, like a cross. But they've changed it because that was too much for the Jewish sages to matzlif, matzlif. But if you look closely at the scourging marks on Yeshua's back. And again, you can go to my Substack and read this. Yeshua is Yom Kippur, because there are two guys scourging him. The scourge marks cross. There are X's and crosses. So incredibly close examination of the 228 lash marks on the shroud reveal two different tortures from two different angles. The result is many of the lash marks crisscross, forming a cross. Yom Kippur is called a Shabbat Shabbaton, a day of solemn rest, a Sabbath of Sabbaths, a bit like the year of Jubilee, where everything goes back to its original owner. This is God's ultimate goal in sending Yeshua to restore us to righteous connection with him, as it was in the perfect Garden of Eden before the fall. Yeshua fulfills the prophecy in Zechariah 3:9. I will remove the iniquity of this land in a single day. To rejoin the ocean, the water drop must be transformed. Carol Ann says, we don't have to celebrate them. No, you don't have to celebrate them. You don't have to celebrate the Judaic traditions. You can if you want, but you do not have to. And don't see any more. Knows it all. If Bibi goes off on the ranch and starts up with Gaza again, then we should all do a B2 raid on all of Bibi's IDF facilities. Well, Trump seems to be backing off of that some, but not much. He said he's not going to let Israel have the West Bank. We will see. Again, as my opening said, Israel is small, not special, and we don't need Israel. Israel needs America. But I've also concluded showing the importance of the Torah and how Yeshua fulfills it. So remember, the gun is not the answer. You are. The gun is a tool in a toolbox of tactics, techniques, and practices. Trump is not the answer. God is. Trump is a temporary advocate in a shifting, stormy sea of political power alliances riding the tides. To see the crooked lines of man, find the straight line of biblical truth. If you are wildly popular, you are undoubtedly wrong. If you are mocked, made fun of, and mistreated, you're on target. If you're waiting for adoration and praise, join the circus. Ignore your critics, cherish your friends, know the chain of command, delineate your duty, triage your priorities, God, family, clan, tribe, nation. To become spirit-filled, empty ego. The only real initiation for a warrior is battle. True certification for a soldier is the enemy. It's not about how you comport yourself in victory, but in defeat. It's not how you perform in public, but in private. Be grateful, and you will become grace-filled. Our times here are like waterfall drops. Savor and share the moment, because all too soon and suddenly